I will be the last in the opening session before we go to the very interesting one that where we will have all the high representatives from the region. I will try to set the scene once again and probably to update you a bit on the events and developments since last year. Again, because Minister Hurduk mentioned some of the achievements of the Romanian presidency, and one of the biggest ones is about the negotiations on Horizon Europe. So I hear a lot of compliments about the Romanian presidency. This is one of the biggest compliments because we are all here in an area, research and science, which is so much concerned with Europe, with Horizon Europe. So thanks a lot again. And I would like also to thank you for the support to this initiative related to our friends from the Western Balkans. Again, probably it will be good to just say a couple of words about the organization that I represent. We come from the European Commission, but we are the Joint Research Center, which is actually the science hub of the European Commission. We work in 5 member states, 6 sites, 3,000 scientists, and our mission is to deliver science and manage knowledge in order to support with robust and independent evidence our policy initiatives at the European level. So this is really important to, especially in this century of advanced science, to use the best of the knowledge in order to underpin our policy initiatives. We cover a very wide spectrum of disciplines, starting from energy to environment, from climate to security. Of course, policy for research is one of our areas which we support as well. So that allows us to be very multidisciplinary. And for the smart specialization concept, this is increasingly important. One of our strengths of work is also to support the enlargement process. Me, as coming from Bulgaria, actually, this is one of the first institutions from one of the first directors general of the European Commission that I got to know, because the Joint Research Center is the helping hand to prepare any aspiring for membership state to really prepare for accession. And since I was working in the area of agriculture, actually all the capacity building with regards to the land register, with the control system, the so-called IX, everything was implemented with the help of the Joint Research Center. So that's why now that we have the Western Balkans, which are with an immediate perspective, European perspective, that's why we are so closely also involved with the Western Balkans. And when last year the Bulgarian presidency has put this priority as one of the top 3 for the Bulgarian presidency, we used this opportunity to start the so-called Sofia Initiative. So what we did last time was a huge conference in Sofia that gathered the region to talk about how smart specialization can be introduced in the Western Balkans, because one of the ways to support the negotiating or candidate countries is to gradually introduce them in everything that we do for the member states. Since we introduced the smart specialization in the member states already in 2014, but the whole concept started already a decade ago, that's why, and we saw the benefits of this process for using research and science for economic transformation with a very innovative way, place-based approach, inclusiveness, bottom-up approach, and so on. We decided that we need to do the same with the Western Balkans. So we really wanted to propagate and enable the strategic level and the implementation through technology transfer, which is the second leg of this conference, to transfer this knowledge and exchange good practices in the whole of the region. We didn't want to do a conference for the Western Balkans. It doesn't make sense. We wanted really to open it up and have member states and Western Balkans together so that we can unlock the potential for real economic I would like to remind a new element in the political context. With the latest enlargement package, you know that the European perspective of the region was became even stronger because the Commission recommended the start of negotiations with 2 more countries, North Macedonia and Albania. We will see what the decision of the Council will be. But the Commission is really opening the process and shows a real open door for the region to integrate really and politically, formally and informally in the European Union. And let me remind you that actually one of the flagship initiatives which was emphasized in this package was the importance of the commitment of the leaders. So that's why our next session is really with political representatives to show that the commitment is important in order to succeed in both smart specialization, but in the overall preparatory process for accession. Technology transfer, extremely important element because it is not enough to work at strategic level. We need to be very hands-on on the implementation, and technology transfer and support of ecosystems is clearly the true path in this direction. One of the very important elements that brings benefit to economic transformation of the smart specialization concept is the participatory approach. This is one of the most difficult parameters also of the smart specialization, which is the dialogue in the quadruple helix between the research, administrative community, business community, and the citizens. There are a number of really benchmarks that are important. It's not an easy concept, but we are there to help, and we are there to, with the really technical support on behalf of the European Union with the Joint Research Center to guide you in the process. Now, I would like to give you also an update of where we stand with the smart specialization as such. Again, this is innovation-based economic transformation process. You know that we developed more than 120 strategies for the member states, and they're implementing these strategies. And one of the most important benefits of this event that we will have the shared view and the feedback from the member states and how they can advise their colleagues from the Western Balkans from a practical experience of already implementing these strategies. I would also remind that this concept gained a very wide popularity, so it goes beyond Europe now. And we have 7 non-EU countries and 18 non-EU regions that are part of our Seville platform, which is the platform to support the smart specialization, and it also hosts the 3 thematic platforms. I would like to specifically highlight that in this smart specialization going global exercise, we participated. I personally presented the concept in the United Nations. That was in May, so 1 month ago, where actually the smart specialization became a chapter in the guidebook for science, technology, and innovation roadmaps to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. That was the annual conference, and actually this concept was rated quite highly as an enabling process to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So another very important element for all of us is that we can marry the economic transformation with the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals through the smart specialization. This is only to show that the importance of this process is gaining a lot of high ranking, not only in Europe, but elsewhere as well. I would like also to mention another recent development. You all know, and especially the Western Balkans know about the Berlin process. This is the political commitment towards the Western Balkans that started in Berlin. That's why it's the Berlin process. This year we have the presidency of Poland. And Poland is the country that benefits a lot from the structural and investment funds from the European Union, through the implementation of smart specialization, thought that we need a conference, ministerial conference, specifically on smart specialization. And actually, one of the top high events in the Berlin process this year was on smart specialization, and it gathered the ministers from the region in Rzeszów, where I also presented the latest developments in this area. So you see that there is a lot going on, both on the enlargement side, but also on the smart specialization side. And now I would like to give you an update of where we are with the Western Balkans. And here I would immediately pass the praises to the team of Sanja Damjanovic from Montenegro. Actually, this is a very nice indicator of how political commitment can push the process forward and can make the things happen on the ground. Because Montenegro was actually not among the first a couple of months ago, but with a lot of political push, courage and enthusiasm behind, we have now, by the end of the month, the first strategy in this region at national level that will be adopted by the government and will come to us as the Commission for Assessment. We worked hand in hand, because when we have a partner on the other side that is truly enthusiastic, we involve our energy as well, full energy as well. So we have the first product on the table, and I'm extremely happy that I'm able to report 1 year later this important result. Next country in a row is Serbia. And I have to say, Victor is here, another power engine behind the process. Serbia started with the smart specialization much earlier, with probably the first strategy for Vojvodina. Yes, so at regional level, and now they are quite advanced in the entrepreneurial discovery process, which is about to end. So a very high advanced stage of the preparation of the strategy for Serbia as well. We expect that it will happen by the end of the year, but Victor is here to tell us more. So our idea was, once being a priority for the Bulgarian presidency, we realized that actually we have a lot of energy to tap from the region, because the Bulgarian presidency was last year. This year we have the Romanian presidency, again from the region. In the meantime, we had the cooperation conference as part of this process in Montenegro for final preparation of their strategy. Next year we will have Croatia. And I'm just coming from Sofia, where we discussed already for the Croatian event next year. So next year we will have a Croatian event, the third event in a member state, but probably in the meantime we will have an event in Serbia. And then the following year we have Slovenia in line. So we want to really have this initiative as pushing and really enabling the process with a lot of energy and political commitment. As I've said, this is truly important. Now, back to technology transfer, because otherwise Giancarlo will be very cross to me if I don't give equal importance to technology transfer. I will update you with the development that we have now a competence center for technology transfer, which works in 3 domains. I explained them already in Croatia last year: capacity and skills building, design of financial instruments, and support to innovation ecosystems. We have a couple of projects there. I will mention one, which is the support that and expert and technical advice we give to EU for Tech project, which is for capacity building in technology transfer specifically for the Western Balkans. And now we are launching a new program, I'm sure Giancarlo will entertain you with that, about the proof of concept training and preparation, which will start at the end of the year. More details will be given, I'm sure, with pleasure by Giancarlo. I will also mention some analytical studies that we did, because as the Joint Research Center, of course, we support the whole process with a lot of studies and research. And I will mention on the side of the smart specialization, of course, the mapping of the potential for cooperation in innovation in the Western Balkans. This study was used, and a lot from it was sourced for the Montenegrin smart specialization strategy, because cooperation and outward-looking approach is crucial for the region. We can't go ahead with small, little, closed strategies without having the broader view of what cooperation and synergy we can bring in the region. We have two more studies, one on the support to high-growth innovative enterprises, because these are the engines of using innovation for growth, and another one which is the Regional Innovation Impact Assessment Framework that allows universities to analyze and showcase their contribution to the innovation ecosystems. I will stop probably here because we will have a lot to say throughout this conference. I'm really happy that we made it as a third event. Thanks again to our hosts and the Romanian presidency, and I'm looking forward to the next sessions which will enlighten us about all the events and all the benefits of the two legs that we are going to discover, the smart specialization and technology transfer. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Minister. So I promise that you're not going to see me all the time on the scene. I will just continue with the next session, which I already announced. And this is the high-level panel on smart specialization and technology transfer. And I would like to invite our speakers from the region, because it's not only Western Balkans. So I'm not sure that I will have all the people coming. I see Sanja Damjanovic from Montenegro. Please take your seat. Then let me see. From Albania, I understand that Deputy Minister Redishtinu is not here. Do we have anyone from Albania, or they couldn't replace? Okay, so you will present yourself next time when you take the floor. Yes, I'm sorry because it came quite in the last moment. I understand also that Minister Osmanovic from Bosnia and Herzegovina also had some problems, though in Bucharest he won't be able to come. It was again a last minute, unfortunately, health problem. Then we have Karina Angelieva. She is Deputy Minister for Research and Structural Funds of Bulgaria. And actually, I'm really happy to make the link with the Sofia conference last year. Then we should have Tome Anticic, State Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Education, Croatia. Yes, thank you. Then we should have Mr. Sotiris Pavlis, Special Advisor to the Secretary General for Research and Technology, Greece. Yes, welcome. Then do we have Minister from Kosovo? They didn't make it. Sanja Damjanovic, I presented. Petar Atanasov, yes, Deputy Minister of Education and Science, Republic of North Macedonia. Adrian Kurash, yes, former Minister of Education, Science and Innovation in Romania, but now dealing with the agency, but you will explain everything that you're doing at the moment. Viktor Nedovic, State Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Serbia. And from Slovenia, we have Istok Puric. Do we have the Slovenian representative? No. So probably we didn't have any announcement from them, so let's see how they will manage with the transport. But we are ready to start. I think that I have already managed to set the scene, so I'm not going to go long because we have this distinguished panel to share with us their reflections on the two elements of the economic transformation, innovation-based. I would like to underline two things. the role of smart specialization in the region is to really create true European value chains, and we want to put together the yet not member states and the member states in order to have the real integration continuing, being sustained, and to create or sustain the existing value chains. This can happen only through working together, through cooperation, and through a strategic and hands-on practical and implementation approach. What we would like to achieve with this panel is to see the perspective from both non-member states and EU member states, to see how we can get the cooperation much more energized and how we can really support the Western Balkans to set up the whole process of smart specialization and enable economic transformation through technology transfer. So what I would suggest now is to start with a short tour du table. So each one of you will have 5 minutes to present the smart specialization concept and how it works in your country. So how do you see the role of smart specialization in supporting your socio-economic development? And another question, it is different for member states and for non-member states. For the representatives from the Western Balkans, with the perspective of integrating into the EU economy, what would you suggest that EU member states from the region could do to provide support and to develop collaboration with you? We really want to go much more on the ground. And of course, on the other side, EU member states, what would your advice be? And what type of support and cooperation you can offer? So we will start with this tour du table, and then we will have a couple of other questions. In the meantime, I understand that the team of Giancarlo is preparing the ground for a voting exercise for the priorities in the region. These are actually questions on which the public will be supposed to vote through the application on your phones, and we will get the results at the end of the session. Of course, we would like to have a very lively session, so there will be questions and answers, including with the public, but we start now with the tour du table from our distinguished panel. Please present yourself and try in 5 minutes to outline your answer on the 2 questions. So, I will suggest to start probably geographically. Okay, so
geographically, okay.
Geographically on the scene.
Geographically on the scene and actually, yeah. Okay, so geographic on the scene and coming from Croatia, because Slovenia is not here, I guess it's actually geographical also from the westernmost point at this point. Okay, so I'm Tome Anticic, the State Secretary at the Ministry of Science and Higher Education. The process of smart specialization in Croatia started around 2012. So it went for all the similar activities as has already been mentioned here, so I will not dwell too much on this. So bottom up, close interaction with the government, triple helix, and as a result of that, thematic priority areas have been identified, and 12 competitive clusters have been made, and so sort of then main strength of the Croatian economy have been identified, and this was then linked with funds from structural funds from the operating program, and it has for the main sort of priorities for the main strengths of Croatia, and which are according to S3 healthcare, food processing, digital technologies, advanced materials, and energy. The process has been useful. Of course, there are problems. One is, whenever government is involved too much, things don't work too well. I mean, so in general, I think a lot more should be put sort of to the market, and if there's too much interaction against sort of private companies and such, things get a bit too complicated. But in general, so this is a problem I think we all have in Europe, especially in the Balkans, and this is why I think initiatives for direct initiatives for innovations should be actually more forced and sort of less government in all these processes, because when you put government on all these things and the entire process, it slows things down, and things are moving so fast, so it's very easily, because of the processes, things get delayed by 1, 2, 3, 4 years, which in the very, very innovative technological environment we have today with the fourth industrial revolution can be a deal breaker for many, many initiatives. So this is something to look forward in the future. But yeah, in general, it has been successful. Sort of hundreds of millions of euros and for hundreds of innovative ideas in these in the main priority areas have been invested, and in future it will get even better. So we have these foresight initiatives both for the research sector, for the company sectors, and also for the human capital. So things will go better in the future, but it should also be then linked to the second part, I think, of this roundtable with this technology transfer mechanisms. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Antičić.